Hey, what's going on, good people? Armand Owens here once again with another episode of The Unsung Leader. Today is May the 21st, and you might have noticed that I didn't do an episode yesterday. And there is a very specific reason why. Because my sitting room no longer has a ceiling. There was a water leak that decided to rear its ugly head at about 3:30 in the morning a couple of days ago, which required a restoration team to come in and remove my ceiling. And so it's been kind of hectic. Me and the family been back and forth to a hotel while they're doing the work. So just trying to navigate that and didn't have enough time to do an episode. So hey, it is what it is. But today, at least for right now, we're back home, and I think they're going to be finishing up the work tomorrow. But today, the leadership tool, the leadership hack I'm going to be talking about today is essentially planning. One of the hardest things to do in leadership is to get your hands around the amazing amount of things that you got to get done from day to day. One of the things that contributes to stress, overwhelm, anxiety is looking at all of those things head on, looking at all of those things in their full totality without consideration for when they need to be done. So if I have 50 things that I need to get done, and I look at all 50 of those things, my brain stops. My brain stops. My heart starts to beat super fast. Eyes get big. Hands begin to get sweaty because there's just so much I got to get done. And how in the world am I going to figure out how to make it happen? Well, that was something. That was a challenge that was, posed for me early on in my leadership journey. Trying to figure out how to navigate all the things that you got to get done. And one key thing I kind of realized is we're only getting about 3 to 5 meaningful things done per day. About 3 to 5 meaningful things per day that you are directly responsible for. Not saying that your team, I'm saying you, right? Individually, you put your hands to it and you got this done. About 3 to 5, things per day. So today I'm just gonna be talking about how one of the things that I utilize to help me with my planning. And doesn't cost a whole lot of money. I use a simple thing called a steno notebook. This thing has been a lifesaver for me, not because of the actual tool, but the methodology that I used to plan. Right. So, have a very specific process that goes like this. At the beginning of the month, every steno pad represents 1 month. So at the beginning of next month, June will be another steno pad, and I would open this steno pad at the beginning of the Sunday before the next month, and I would essentially sit down, get to a quiet place, grab a coffee, grab a tea, whatever you like to use, whatever you like to do. Just get to a clear place, clear-headed space, and I began to write down, and I call this the hard drive. I write down in this area all the things that I got to get done, everything, nothing too big, nothing too small. What are all the things you got to get done? And I'll write those things down, in this space called the hard drive. And what ended up happening, I ended up writing about 40 to 50 items that needed to get done over the course of of that month. You're talking about big things, right? And with those things, I would apply a ranking 1 through 5 for all of those things, right? 1 being, if I don't get this done, I'm gonna get fired. Right? That's the urgency that I placed on a number 1. Number 2, slightly less important. 3, hey, it's important, but not super urgent, right? When you're talking about the ones, you're talking about this is important and this is urgent, right? When you get into a number 3, you're talking about, hey, this is important, but it's not quite as urgent. And when you get into a 5, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not that important, and it's not that urgent, but you know that it's something that has to get done. It's kind of that, that low hanging fruit aspect, right? So I will fill all those blanks here, right? Fill it up on the hard drive, and you can use anything with that. You can use a use any kind of notepad, whatever you want to use, but you want to make sure that it's monthly, right? So you can have it to resort back. The next step is, because once you get all that stuff out, you don't realize the level of stress you're released from yourself, just because you've put all that stuff out, you understand it, you got a full scope, you got to prioritize. So now the level of overwhelm, the level of stress that you would have if you're looking at all those things head on has been released, has been relieved, right? And the next step is, hey, day for day, right? So the first sheet, first day. Hey, what do I need to get done, for today? One thing that I always do on Sundays is I sit down and I do what I call the blueprint for the week. And I've talked about this on a previous video, but I sit down and I go over every Sunday, I go over my hard drive list and I look back through all the things I've got done for the week, and I transpose that for that next Monday. What do I need to get done? And I write it down, and I put boxes right next to it, right? So whatever I have to get done, right? Take the car, for tune up, right? And I'll put a nice little block right next to it. And I got that thing done, I put an X on it, right? And if I didn't get it done, I carried it over to the next day. That does a couple of things. It helps you remain accountable to yourself. And the second thing, it begins to be extremely annoying after about 3 or 4 times carrying over the same thing. You just kind of get tired of writing it down and you just get it done, right? So it's kind of a forcing function, of annoyance, so to speak, right? But it's a very, very simplistic way, to plan things out, to reduce overwhelm, to reduce stress, to compartmentalize the things that you got to get done, right? And put them in a format, in a way that they're easily digested and easily taken care of. I guarantee you start that, immediately, you will amaze yourself at the amount of things that you're able to get done, the amount of things that you're able, to plan for, and the amount of stress that you don't feel anymore because you planned it and you've chronicled it. So that's my leadership hack for today, to be productive, to plan things out. It's very simple. You don't have to buy an app. I know it's very archaic, using a pen and using paper, but there's something kinesthetic about putting things on paper, that really, connects me, to that task and makes me accountable to make sure that happens. So, like I said, it's a tool. You can use it. I did not make this up. This is a collection of things that I've gathered from some of the greatest leaders that I've come across, and this is something that has worked for me. All right, so take it, modify however you want to, call it yours. That's for free. Unsung Leader out. Make sure you share, you like, and all those other things that you're supposed to do with the video. I had to push back the interviews just based on what's going on at home, but I wanted to make sure that I kept coming with at least a video of keep the Unsung Leader videos going. Even though it may not be daily, I'm gonna definitely try to make sure that it is daily, and I'll try to be back tomorrow. I think I'm on the back end of all this work getting done, so I try to make sure I don't skip another day and cheat you out of some wisdom. And just know, like I said, this ain't all my wisdom. This is wisdom I've gathered from people over the course of my almost 23-year career, and I'm just bringing it to you just because my superpower is sharing. All right, Unsung Leader out. Peace.